Take a quick walk with me for a second. I'm not going to tell you where. Take a quick walk along a side street and look at this sidewalk here, and the condition of it. Can you see? Broken sidewalk, uneven, hasn't been touched in 20, 30 years. Beautiful day. Can barely walk on it, by the way. Delaware Avenue. Delaware Avenue, which I believe is the Avenue of America. And if it's that bad on Delaware, can you imagine what it's like on Emsley Street, off of Genesee, off of William on the east side? I've been there. It's worse. And it's not right. And the reason it is because we're broke. We don't have enough government funds with which to just deliver basic services anymore. And the reason for that is because this overabundant system is draining so much of it. And if you look closely, and I mean look closely, not just in Buffalo, but throughout the community, we don't look like we used to. We're not as well kept. We're not as clean. I'm a Democrat, and I'm proud to say it. I believe in government. I believe in an aspirational government assisting activist people. As a result, I was a candidate for mayor here in the city of Buffalo about 3 or 4 years ago. It was the first summer, and it was a hot one, that we had to close beaches and pools for lack of resources, you know? And if you were a young, impoverished kid in the city of Buffalo, you had no place to swim. So you know where they swam? And they still do it. They swim up in the Black Rock Channel, you know, where the lake meets Niagara River. So one day when I was running for mayor, I went and swam with them. In human waste and pollution that would make you sick, it made me cry for a week. That's just not us. And the question is, what are we going to do about it? Now, let's take a quick peek, and this is going to be a little jarring. It's a good thing you're sitting down. Let's take a look at what's happened around America during that same period. By the way, see that? That's a community in crisis. That's a city in peril. There's no doubt, there can be no debate. It didn't happen overnight. It sort of happened in slow motion. If it happened quicker, I think folks and politicians would be all upset about it. But there's no doubt that's what it is. Now, at the same time, around the country, during the same period, not one but 5 economic resurgences have swept America, driven principally by the internet age and all the affluence that it's creating. Never comes to us. We never see it here. Just since October of 2006, the New York Stock Exchange has set 54 record-level highs. You don't see it here in Western New York. Around America, I'll take responsibility for this. About 10 years ago, I played a small role in starting a conversation. I see Joan Bozer here from the Erie County Legislature, Tom Walkland. We were all part of it, a conversation of how we can improve local government, reform it, make it better, less costly, more fair. In the course of conducting that conversation, I traveled the country. I went to places, and I know you've been there. Mecklenburg County, you know, Charlotte, the place has taken so many of our brothers and sisters. Chattanooga, Tennessee, we hear all about them. Fairfield County, Louisville, Kentucky. Nice places. You've been there, really. Nice places, nice people. Couldn't hold a candle. Could not hold a candle to what we have here in terms of man-made and God-given gifts. They don't have that story. They don't have this sense of place, and yet they're moving ahead. They're kicking our butt. They're creating vibrant economies. They're retaining our young people because they're embracing these new doctrines of local government and these new practices, which are smaller, more effective, more empowering to citizens. And by the way, speaking with them, the most innovative ones around the country lately, and speaking with them, here's what I've learned. And for those local elected officials who are here, the most forward-looking and innovative ones, their buzzword, the real sizzle in local government today is the word, it's no longer regionalism, which of course has been horrified, it's retrenchment. And their idea is that if you're a local government servant in America today, you should make every decision in service of one idea, and it's a very simple idea. And that idea is that a healthy, educated, protected, diverse community attracts others. So all this notion of local government being involved in job development or economic development, they can't do it, they never have, and they never will. So what they do is they focus on those policies that they can affect the most, like education, retaining the bucolic sense of place, and of course public transportation, which we've failed miserably here. It's a stain on all of us, for people in the city not to be able to reach where we're growing here. And if we're really honest with each other, and we're just brothers and sisters, and we're alone here today, there's no one else watching, we can tell the truth. When you get on those planes and see the other portions of the country, they are all entering the 21st century and leaving us behind in the dust. I'm not going to stand for that, and nor should you. So against that backdrop, I thought it was time. We all knew there was a little too much government here in Western New York, but no one had sat down and actually counted up the number of politicians and how much it costs taxpayers as a matter of compensation and health care benefits and retirement pension-like. So we spent about 8 months doing it, and what we thought was that would provide new information and a new basis by which we as citizens and our public servants could restart this conversation about how we can create a better government and ask the question about whether we're doing it the right way. We thought the most important thing to do would be to benchmark us, compare us to other like-sized communities in order to see how we measure up. So here we go. Again, Greater Buffalo, that's just a synonym for Erie County, 913,000. You know what the truth is? We're really down to about 900,000, if you want to be honest about it. 900,000. You're not old enough, but I remember when there was 1.3 million people here. Greater Indianapolis, that's actually 7 counties that banded together about 21 years ago to form what they call Unigov. They've got 863,000, about 50,000 less than us. Charlotte, that's just Mecklenburg County, 752,000, about 200,000 less than us. Greater Baltimore, 1.6 million. That's actually Baltimore County, Howard County, and the city of Baltimore. So they have about 800,000 more than us. Then I put in New York City for dramatic effect, 8.1 million people there. All their growth rates are remarkable. They're growing by leaps and bounds. Look at Charlotte. Almost 400,000 people have moved there in the past 30 years or so. And it's a nothing place. It's a soulless, sullen environment. It's not us. As we've discussed, we've lost 60,000 since 1990, and since 1970, 238,000. Their births per thousand are all pretty healthy. Ours is the least healthy. That's just a reflection of our increasingly growing population, the reduced number of women of childbearing age. I want to tell you something that I learned just recently in this project, speaking with folks who are working on the consolidation of our healthcare system. Do you know that we have one of the highest birth defect rates in America in Erie County? Joan Bozer knows it, but did you know that the average in America is 1 in 9, ours is 1 in 5? Do you ever hear the local government system trying to address that, to talk about it? Those are the type of issues that we should be involved in, but for some reason they're involved in others. We're going to come back to that. So, for Greater Indianapolis, for 863,000, they have 14 governments. Charlotte has 8 governments for 752,000. Baltimore, 3 governments. Just 3 governments, just the 2 counties and the city for 1.6 million people. New York City for 8.1 million people, 1 government, just 1. Here in Erie County, we have 45. 45. I respectfully suggest that that's a little out of proportion. Number of politicians in Indianapolis, 159, Charlotte, 60, Baltimore, they govern with 33 elected politicians, New York City, 64, for all the complex social and economic and racial divisions that they have to reconcile, 64. We have 341. 341. When you add in elected judges, which actually sort of is an interesting story, we also, of course, have the highest. For a total number of elected officials, Indianapolis 239, Charlotte 135, Baltimore 95, New York City 248, Erie County 439. 439 politicians. That's not just an inconvenient truth, that's an unacceptable one. Because you know why? It turns out we have more than 10 times the number of politicians than any like-sized community in America. Our study revealed that the cost of sustaining those folks, those 439 people on an annual basis, $32 million. $32 million. That's not for government. That's not for the transportation, for the health care, for picking up your garbage, for culture and the like. That's just for the bosses. Again, for such an impoverished community, it seems to me a little steep. And what that means is, since 1998, in that decade that slide described, 238,000 people gone, 40,000 jobs, control boards, housing stock value down, all that poor performance. During that 10-year decade, we paid our politicians $320 million. That's more than $250 million. I want you to look closely for one moment at that number, $320 million, because it tells you something. There's a lot of capital here in Erie County. That's a lot of money. The question I'm posing and posed on this tour to every elected official was, are we utilizing and allocating those funds in the wisest way, the most fair way, the way that's going to get us to the promised land that we all seek?